Okay. Welcome to the City of Eureka BOZA and Planning Agenda. A meeting tonight. We are at the City Auditorium in the basement. It is Tuesday, May 13th at 6 p.m. And first thing on our agenda today, we have a public hearing, conditional use permit application for Fort College. Chris Cavanaugh, is that how you say it? Is he here today? Okay, come on up to the microphone, Chris. All right. And Chris, if you could tell us who you are and why you're putting the application in.
Yeah, thanks. My name's Chris Goodenough. Accent is English, but I sound Australian, so been here too long, maybe 20 years. But we currently own 5 properties in Eureka, and we've just purchased another one, which is 4 College Street, up near the Hearts supermarket, and we would like to apply to transfer the 1-unit tourist lodging to this property as well, to allow us to do short-term rentals.
Okay. And why did you choose Eureka?
Oh, we love Eureka. I've been up in Northwest Arkansas for about 5 years now, and I think the diversity and inclusion of this wonderful place is amazing. So we fell in love with it about 4 years ago, and bought some properties inside Bella Paradiso, and then it's a fantastic place to bring people, and just the tourist side every weekend is there's always something going on.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody here to talk about or to speak on the public hearing for Fort College? Okay, seeing nobody approaching the microphone. Okay, Chris, we're going to have you further down the agenda. But thank you for your time. Go ahead. Oh, we have a question. Go ahead.
I just have a question for Cassie on this one.
Mm-hmm.
It has been operating, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if everything is up to date on CAPC taxes?
I asked CAPC and they're fine with this moving forward is essentially the answer I received.
So you're saying that they have been, the previous owners have been permitted and have been paying?
I'm saying that this sold before any application was made for the transfer. And so CAPC is, essentially, they're not pursuing the previous owner for any sort of taxes they may or may not owe.
So what you're saying is they're not doing it because they don't need to, or you just don't know if they even are. We don't know whether or not they were up to date or not up to date, and
correct.
You just have no information.
I have the letter that I included, which I know came late, so it's in your packets now, which essentially said CAPC is not pursuing the previous owner for any sort of taxes they may or may not owe. That's the information I have.
Yep.
Okay.
It's in here.
Okay.
Read that letter, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And I'll get Tom to establish a roll call.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Tom, go ahead and do a roll call.
Ansley. Mike Welch.
Here.
Scott Price.
Here.
Fergie Stewart.
Here.
Dave Budicali.
Here.
Susan Tallman.
Here.
I'm President Tom Buford and also President of Staff Person Cassie Dishman.
Okay, we have a quorum. Let's go ahead and stand for pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So I need we have the boarding of zoning adjustment. Need an approval for the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Public comments. Anybody that wants to comment on the Board of Zoning Adjustment? Anybody? I don't see anybody approaching the microphone. All right. Unfinished business, we have none. New business. We have a request for a tree removal, 33 Ridgeway. Matthew Hamilton, the applicant. Removal of one damaged tree. Is Matthew Hamilton present? Matthew, can you tell us why the request for removal of a damaged tree?
The tree has hit the top broke out twice. 2 different limbs have broke out and damaged shingles and damaged the fascia board. And I took about 30-something pictures and took it to the building inspector and showed him. And he also came out and approved another dead tree that was in the backyard. The whole top of the cedars broke out, and it's about 4 or 5 feet from the house. It's pushing the steps up. It's going to start pushing on the house. It just needs to be removed. It's just a nuisance too close to the house tree.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope.
Any questions? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the tree removal?
Make a
for
motion
33
to allow the tree removal at 33 Ridgeway.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the tree removal of 33 Ridgeway. All in favor?
Aye.
And it passes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next, we have a tree removal, 2 Pine Oak. Pavel Salter, applicant. Is Pavel here? Did I say that right? No? Removal of 2 trees that for new construction. Do I have a motion to discuss?
Motion to discuss. Second.
Okay. All right. Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
I don't have any questions. I mean,
Okay. Anybody on this one?
nope.
Go ahead.
I have one question on this 2 Pine Oak. It says 2 trees, but in the picture, it shows 3 trees marked.
And in the letter, it says there is 1 tree requiring BOZO approval. The other 4 were dead
here.
or under the required size limit. So are we talking 1 tree or 2 trees? Isn't that what this letter said?
One tree.
There's 1 tree requiring.
1 tree.
The other 4 were dead.
1 tree.
But it says on our agenda, 2 trees.
It's only one.
It's one?
the tree up front, yes.
Okay. So,
Okay.
we'll just amend that to 1 tree.
Yep.
All right. So need a motion to approve the tree removal for 1 tree at 2 Pine Oak.
I move that the Eureka Springs Board of Adjustment approve the tree removal permit application for 2 Pine Oak Street based on the summary of facts presented.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the tree removal of 2 Pine Oak for 1 tree. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Passes. Thank you. All right. Tree removal, 50 Wall Street. Mike Laurel, applicant. Removal of 1 hazardous tree. Is Mike Laurel here? Okay.
Here.
Can you tell us about the tree, Mike?
It's for a customer. It's mostly dead. It's real close to the house, has codominant stems. It's not going to come back. And the 1 half is already dead. The other half has a pretty good sized cavity over the house that could fail, and it's dying from the top down. So it's just a tree that needs to be removed.
All right. Any questions for Mike?
No questions.
I need a motion to approve the tree removal of 50 Wall Street.
Make a motion to remove 1 hazardous tree at 50 Wall. Is it 50 Wall Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
There we go. All right, we have a motion and a second for removal of 50 Wall Street, one hazardous tree. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes. All right, tree removal for 12 Washington. Again, Mike Laurel, applicant. Removal of 1 tree that is close to the house.
It's just in between the 2 houses, very, very close to both, and it's a better tree to get out while it's small than wait till it gets as big as some of the other trees in that area.
Okay. Any questions for Mike? Okay.
Make a motion that we grant the approval for the tree removal at 12 Washington.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the tree removal of 12 Washington Street. Removal of 1 tree that is close to the house. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have, Fergie,
Yeah.
you haven't asked if anybody is abstaining or is voting no.
That's true, I have not. And,
So do we have,
I think we had, are you abstaining?
Not on these.
Okay, so no, I think everybody's approving.
I'm abstaining.
Oh, you're abstaining?
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't think
sorry.
Tom has voted on any of them, so.
Sorry, Tom.
It's okay.
Let me put the, so on all the removals? Okay. All right. Sorry. Thank you.
That's okay.
I'm
Just
sorry. I just didn't.
eventually it'll come up.
All right, I got it.
Okay, so we're all done with all our trees.
Yep, that's, so I need a
Thank
motion
you.
to close the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
Make a motion to close the Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close the Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone saying? No. Okay, all in favor. Okay, we're now going to open the Planning Commission meeting. I need approval of the agenda as written.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Can we take off number 2 since Ann is not here? And is there any other,
Number 4?
what is it?
Can we take off 4 also? We just had a finished discussion.
Okay,
So number 2 and number 4?
Is that okay?
okay. All right, yeah. Anybody else?
Nope.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second?
We have a motion to approve the
Excuse me.
amended agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Public comments. Anyone that would like to make public comments to the Planning Commission at this time, please come up to the microphone. Okay, not seeing any. Okay. All right. Unfinished business, we have none. New business. We have a conditional use permit for Ford College Street, Chris Goodenoff applicant, and it's for transfer of 1 unit of tourist lodging. And so if you want to come up to the microphone again, he's already there. All right. Any questions for
Motion to discuss.
Go ahead. Motion to discuss?
Second.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
No?
Nope. Anybody have any questions?
Anything else you want to say, Chris?
No, I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to stay in Eureka Springs.
Oh, great, great. I think you'll be a great neighbor, so
Appreciate you.
good deal.
Go ahead.
So I need a motion to approve the conditional use permit.
You're up, Mike.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit transfer application for College to Chris Goodenough.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit for Ford College. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any disapproves? No? All right, we have a next one is
Thank
new
you.
commercial construction, 96 Ridgeway. Christopher and Crystal Ensley applicants. Construction of 1 building for commercial and residential needs. Are they here today? Okay, come on up to the microphone, please. Can I get a motion to discuss?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
Your motion to discuss. Okay, can Chris and Crystal, can you tell me what's going on and what you're doing?
Yes, we're looking at purchasing the property at 96 Ridgeview, and there's an existing business there currently, and our plan in moving forward with this is to build a 60 by 90 metal building for both residential and commercial use. So it will be a metal building, so we're asking for the permission to do that.
Questions? Go ahead, Susan.
So it's mixed use? So you're going to have living quarters in there and an event space? Is that my
Yes, ma'am, and we've been talking to the fire marshal and also not code enforcement, but building about that, and understand there will be some things we'll have to adjust inside to make that happen. But
I have a question for Cassie.
Yes.
Is that proper commercial? I should know this since I'm on the commission, but for commercial construction, is there required to put a public notification for any public input?
No, and I checked. I
Okay.
checked the code, I checked the application, I checked past applications. There's nothing that says that we have to do any sort of public notice outside of what's done with publishing the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, I drove by today and there wasn't anything there, and I didn't know if it was for commercial.
I've checked my box of signs. There's no new commercial construction signs in my box of signs.
All right, cool. Thanks. That's all I had.
Alcohol beverage control is going to require some public notice.
I'm sorry?
Alcohol beverage control is going to require some notice, right?
There's already a brewery existing there,
Yep.
so
Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with your new owner, right?
Well, not yet. We're
Hoping
looking
to
at
be.
purchasing it.
Okay.
This is our future plan with it. So we're just wanting to come to y'all and make sure that was something that was a possibility.
Good luck.
Yeah, go ahead, Susan. Go ahead.
I just have a question for Cassie. Cassie, based on let me collect my thoughts. Materials. All the materials are, that they're wanting to put on the building because it's metal, those are all approved. They don't have to come to us for a variance in that zone?
I don't believe they're planning on putting any materials on the building. It's just going to be a metal building.
Okay, so it will have some sort of siding on it,
Metal.
right? But what I'm asking is that all permitted in that zone? That type of exterior?
So that's why I was a bit detailed in my staff recommendation. Technically, that would not be permitted, according to what our current metal building code says. However, I don't know that that is a fair stipulation to place upon them, given the number of metal buildings there are in that zone. Now, this ultimately is your decision. We can require that they come back with a zoning variance or that they cover it, but that was just my personal feeling is, why would we hold them to a standard that has never been met?
I have a question.
And that is why, that's why I asked that question, because I knew that exterior metal building typically aren't,
Allowed.
it would be one of those items that would be against what our current code says.
Yes.
So that's the only reason why I asked that. I just want to make sure that I was, because I wondered why they hadn't come to us with the variance.
That's what I was going
And
to, that's what my question was.
I did think of, should this require a zoning variance or not, decided to not go there initially, simply because no other metal building has ever come before this commission for a zoning variance. And there are
Well,
plenty of
there
metal
has.
buildings in this town. I'm not saying they should have or shouldn't have. I'm just saying they have not done it.
Now, we had one over at Hart's, which was their little storage unit, and it's what is it, like a,
That the container?
yeah, that container, it's metal, and it did come before us.
Oh, I
So, yeah.
wasn't aware of
But
that.
that was probably, what would you say, 4 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah, 3 or 4, yeah.
Something like that. So that's why I was just asking about that in particular. And then the new, what is it, the new bill that passed in Arkansas related to ADUs, is that considered an ADU, or is that considered just a primary dwelling? I mean, I know it's a commercial property existing, and they're adding, so do you know how that
I
goes with the new
do not.
bill?
Because
You know
I
what I'm
was
talking
not,
about?
I was not considering this an ADU. I don't know if ADUs are a thing outside of residential zones.
I don't either, but I know if it's going to be a residence, that's why I'm asking, residence mixed use, then is it considered as an ADU?
Well, even if it was, they would still be allowed in a residential. Yeah, my understanding of that bill is that it's in the context of an existing residential building. But even if it was, even if this property was under the purview of that, this is a mixed-use zone.
Because, and there is no residence there currently. It's just a
Right,
commercial building.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that,
Yeah, my
I just
only,
wanted to ask those questions because
I have a question.
since it's all new.
Go ahead, Mike.
Can I get clarification? Are they asking for a variance right now?
No, they're asking for an approval of a destruction.
Commercial.
Basically a permit, an application for a
Of
destruction.
something that's not allowed per code?
And I would say that we should vote on it as a
Yeah,
variance
that's me too.
to make sure that we're
That's
following
what I'm saying,
code.
'cause right now-
Regardless of whether or not, there are other ones out there, according to our code
yeah.
as written.
Yeah, they're just applying to put a metal building uncovered on their property. We can't support that because that's against the code. But if they're applying for a variance then we can vote on that. Is that what you're applying for, a variance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, this is a new commercial construction. The zoning variance is a different application.
Okay. But on the sample motion, it says that I move that the Eureka Springs Board of Adjustment approve a variance application.
That needs to be
It
fixed.
still has to be an application. They still have to fill out the application,
Okay.
though, for the
Right.
variance,
I just
which
wanna
they
ask-
have not done.
Yeah, that's what I just want to clarify what I'm going to be voting on.
So basically, the concession here is on the materials. Is that right?
Right.
Cassie?
Sorry, what?
Basically, the concession here is on the materials, because it's a metal building and it lacks any exterior cladding of stucco or rock, right?
Right.
So it's just a straight metal building,
Yeah.
right?
Where are you guys from?
We're from Dallas, Texas.
Okay, so you aren't currently living here. You drove up just for this meeting, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And the building will be located behind the tree line where the old hotel used to be.
Off the road.
So we are going to put it behind that tree line. So not only is it pretty far off the roadway, but the tree line will hide it. Those pine trees we're going to leave.
That's exactly one of the things I had in my mind. Now I had to wrap my head around where the site is. Now I know where the site is it doesn't trouble me. I want to encourage new development, for sure.
Yes.
Thumbs up. So the only thing is we do have to think about precedent, because that site that's next to you is the old hotel,
Right.
may be developed.
Right.
And it may or may not affect it. And we want to encourage this development. So it's just basically setting a precedent, because somebody's going to ask us a question: why did you not allow any kind of any kind of cladding on that building? That's all.
Yes, sir.
So I would say, I'm going to ask this of you, Cassie, if I don't have a problem voting on the construction, on new commercial construction. My only question originally was why it wasn't brought to us as a variance, because of the materials that they want to use. So since they're from Dallas, it's a 6-hour drive to get back here and everything. So could they fill out a variance and we could vote on it at our next meeting and just have them zoom in?
Yeah, that'd absolutely be possible.
I mean, and I'm kind of like what you're saying is that if we allow one without doing a variance, when we've done variances for others, then I would just assume we stay true to the ordinance and not get ourselves into any questions.
Yeah, so the dilemma that we're in is not that we don't want to encourage it, right? It's just that there is some precedent that we have to make sure that we can justify, and there's a procedural element here, So that's basically it.
And can I ask just a quick question? So the existing metal building that's on the property is an uncovered metal building that's there. And the new one will match that one.
Which is the reason why we would be open to consider this variance. But that just because there's one doesn't mean that, and I'm sorry to even use this term because it's not, one evidence of bad behavior doesn't support another one. Not that this is bad behavior. You know what I'm saying?
I got it.
Right? So that's the only reason. And that's one of the reasons why I would be inclined to support it, because there already is a building there. We have to defend it. But this is kind of a procedural issue, right, to make sure that we're handling this correctly.
And that's definitely why we wanted to bring it to y'all's attention, because, again,
and we appreciate
that's our future plan. So that'll definitely, if we have to do anything additional to it, that'll add to the cost, obviously, and
It's just, well, if you're from Dallas, then you understand what it is to cross your T's and dot the I's. I'm from Houston, so I've been in development business for 40 years. I understand it very well. So you understand what the issue is here. Okay.
Y'all ain't under any kind of a time restraint as far as getting something done. We only meet once a month, and would that put a burden on y'all to come back again in the
They
next?
could Zoom. They could do a Zoom, but when are you, have you made an offer on the property?
Yeah.
They're under contract. Okay, and
June
when
1st.
is June 1st is closing, or
Well,
you're
we
hoping?
hope. We hope.
June 1st is our deadline. So we have to, if this isn't going to happen, then we need to make some decisions on if we're still interested in the property if this can't happen. So June 1st, that's why, we are in a time crunch at this point.
So Cassie, is there a mechanism here or a procedure that we could consider that would solve this issue?
We would just do a special meeting.
Is there any kind of, yes,
Special meeting.
so they would need to apply for a variance, and then we have a meeting, special
We
meeting,
just do a
and
special
approve it.
meeting.
They can't just right now say, well, I'd just like to change it to a variance. You see what I'm saying? If we can have a special, if it's within agreement, I would have any problem with coming back and approving it.
either.
Or, voting on it.
I mean, I'd
So,
come
yeah.
back tomorrow if that's what it took, but, what is today?
You could do it tomorrow.
Today's the 13th.
Today's 13th. I mean,
You can come
it
back.
doesn't matter to me. I just think that we should
Yeah, we need to
follow our
follow our
ordinances.
guidance, but
Just make
I want to help them as best we can because I really don't have any opposition to what they're proceeding, but I just know there's a procedural move that we have to make to approve a variance, and this is not a variance application.
There is a slight hiccup which is something that I've been meaning to bring up anyways, in that our variance application states that there are public notices that have to go out. And there's a certain time frame before the meeting that those have to happen. Now, that being said, from what I have seen, there is nothing in our municipal code or in state code that actually requires a public notice for zoning variance applications. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying if we maintain that public notice for the zoning variance application, we can't do a special meeting tomorrow. It will
No,
be
yep.
the end of the month.
Yep, I understand.
If we say that's not required in code, then we could meet as soon as we can get that application in and everyone can come back to the table.
Well, we need 4 people.
Yes.
So, I would make a motion that we approve the new commercial construction at 96 Ridgeview.
Second?
Well,
Oh,
That we approve it, but ask that a variance form be filled out.
Right, yeah, right. I got you, yeah. That a variance form be filled out as soon as possible and submitted to the planning commission. Is that what you want to do?
That's the motion that I would make.
And the variance form is specific to,
The
Metal building.
The exterior
construction.
materials.
Yes?
Is there a second? Right.
Just one question. Do we have a time limit on this variance, getting it in?
Well, that's what Cassie was just talking
Yeah,
about.
she
There's
said, yeah.
no public hearing, there's no notification.
Yeah, in this case, yeah.
So we
So,
could do it.
Would you
okay,
say
anyway.
you're 95% sure?
I would say I'm 98% sure.
Okay.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay.
No.
Let's
Yeah.
read the motion one more time. I just want to make sure we
Okay,
get it
so
on record.
I make a motion that we approve the new commercial construction at 96 Ridgeview on the basis that a variance application is submitted as soon as possible to the Planning Commission for a vote.
A second.
Okay. Now, we have a motion and a second to approve new construction with the caveat of a variance being submitted to the planning commission. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll get with
Thank you,
Cassie.
guys.
I'll
Thank
contact
you
you
very much.
first thing in the morning.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you.
Perfect.
All right. All right. All right. Now we go to commission business. Inspections and certification of occupancy discussion. We have Paul and James from the fire department. Come on up. Okay. And part of this was due to the question about occupancy permits, when are they issued and inspected and things like that. So Paul, I'll let you take over.
So I'm going to let James kind of tell you what he does, but so I sent a letter to Cassie asking not to enforce a CO requirement at a certain amount of time. and was talking about, do we do one every 10 years? Do we do one every 15 years? And the reason why I didn't want to have that requirement is because right now we go through, and I don't have the numbers. I got some numbers here, but I think there's like 250 businesses in town and 115 short-term rentals and hotels, approximately 115 of those. And to date, we've done over 30 inspections on short-term rentals and over approximately 35 inspections from remodeling on short-term rentals and hotels and time frame. So what I'm getting at is I'm going to have James tell you what he does whenever we go through these COs and what I do on the COs. But mostly I feel like that in the next year we will get through almost some type of inspection, probably 75% of the short-term rentals or hotels. And then I'll let James tell you how he does the hotels and how his priorities are. And if you have any questions after that, we'll come back to that.
Hi, I'm James Callan, Fire Marshal. Most of you probably know me. So I don't know if you have read through our application package here. Our third and fourth pages kind of breaks down some of the occupancy classifications and how, for lack of a better term, dangerous or not dangerous those are and need to be inspected. We've had an inspection program, best I can figure, going back in our records since about 1997. Long time now. Jimmy Kelly and Bob McVeigh started it back in the mid-90s. Things have gotten busier. It's gotten harder for the crews to get out and get into these businesses as often as they do. We used to run about 1,000 calls a year. Now we run almost 2,000. Same amount of crew we did back then.
Yeah.
So now I'm 9 to 5, 8 to 5, try to get in these places. But yeah, places like the one y'all were talking about that had a C of O 10 years ago. That was the last time it sold. That's when you get a C of O. So has that been inspected since then for an annual inspection? Certainly. Hadn't had a C of O because it hasn't changed ownership. That's what a C of O is. So annual inspections do occur. Annual inspections occur more often for places like the Basin, the Crescent, the Grand Central, places where people are sleeping inside it and need to be safe. T-shirt shop, there's not a lot of danger in there. If something happens, people run out the front door. They're not asleep. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question for you. So where is that information held? Is that held like on a city site, or is that just your information that you hold there only at the fire department?
So this is our policy on our annual inspection policy and frequencies of how often we try to get in places. I've got paper records going back all the way to 1997.
On the
File
specific
cabinets
addresses?
Full, yeah, each address has a file.
Okay, but
The
then,
Crescent's got 2 books this thick.
but nothing is digital, and it doesn't read with what Paul has.
Nothing was digital before 2022. When I took over this job, I do all my inspections on cloud-based software now.
Okay, so
All electronic.
can Paul see those? If
Yes,
he
Paul has access to
he does.
my files,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Paul does, Jess does. I can get it to Cassie if she wants as well.
Okay.
Just simply giving him my login.
I'm good.
But yeah, we use a company called ESO Solutions to do our cloud-based inspections. We use it for inspections, properties, hydrants, fires, EMS, everything in our department. It's an all-encompassing software, similar to the way BS&A does for running a city. This is for running fire and EMS.
Okay.
And that's what we use.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
But I try to keep our inspection program as robust as it can be. In the last, since I took over in June of 22, I started using the ESO software. I've done about 275 inspections since then.
I just have one more question. What happens if someone refuses to allow you in?
Then I go out and I get an administrative warrant and I serve them with a warrant.
Okay.
They have to allow me in at any reasonable hour or time according to fire code.
Okay. And if they don't, is that, I understand that you can force them to do that, but does that affect their do we know, does that affect their licensing and, I mean, obviously if they're not passing, they shouldn't have a license, but how does that process work?
I mean, the yearly inspections, I don't know, but, you know, if somebody they don't get a business license if they don't have a certificate of occupancy.
Right.
Okay, so if
I've yet to have anyone refuse me, so I don't
didn't
know
think
what
you
would
would,
happen, but entirely likely, yes, they would have their business license pulled until they complied.
Okay.
Yeah, so when people come to us for CUPs, this is step one, and after they get it, I tell them immediately, you have to go to the building inspector for your certificate of occupancy before you can get your business license.
And we've had y'all come in to our property as well, check fire extinguishers and stuff like that. I just wondered if, you know, if there's what the process is. If
I
they
try to keep
refuse.
everything that I do as transparent across the board, so he's got my info, I've got his info, and everyone's on the same page about where we're going and what we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, anybody else? Michael?
No, I appreciate them coming here, and I believe their concerns, and I just feel no need to pursue this, and I move that we table any discussion regarding regulation oversight of periodic inspections by these two gentlemen.
Do you, Paul, have you talked to Ann?
I have not talked to Ann about any of this, no.
Okay, so are you going to kind of catch her up on what has happened?
I will do that, yeah.
Okay, because I know you said table it, but, you know, it was kind of her baby, so.
So do you want to continue it and put it back on for the next agenda, or just let it, I mean, I
I'd
don't
rather
see any.
just Cassie
I'll
get a hold of her.
I'll follow up with her, and if she wants it to stay on, we can do that. If she's good with what they've said, then we'll let it go.
Okay, cool.
So we're always happy to come down here. Y'all are part of the code enforcement team, just like we are, and we're always happy to come down and help.
Well, thank you, Chief.
Thank
you,
you.
Paul.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys. The next one, number 3, lot size discussion. Tom Buford. Anything?
All right.
Okay, here we go. Yes.
So I did reach out to the mayor who contacted Municipal League about our concerns, and their main two things they came back with were, one, of course, don't write anything to explicitly prohibit ADUs because the new law says you can't do that.
Right.
And two, they were more concerned about when the minimum lot size increases, and what we're looking at is a decrease. So they didn't seem to have any specific thing to say about when a lot size decreases.
What would be the reason for increase? Like, what would be their concerns or?
Mostly that then, you know, sort of say this was going the opposite direction. Say our current code said in R1, you could build on a 3,200 square foot lot, and we were looking to increase that to 4,000. Then the concern is, well, what about all those undeveloped lots that are 3,200 square feet? So they were like, you could, you know, write in that those lots that were previously developable will still be considered developable.
But then they would, which is what we
Regardless of
have
the
now,
increase.
is that they're coming to us with a variance.
Yeah, and so,
Okay.
you know, going in reverse, going from 4,000 to 3,200, well, of course, a lot that's 4,000 square feet is still going to be able to be built upon.
So we're saying we're going to keep on doing the variances then, basically?
Yeah, we won't have to keep doing the variances if we decrease it.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Part
At
of
least not
the
for lot size.
part of the thing among a lot of municipalities, not just in Arkansas, but many states, is a way that they start to regulate housing density is also by increasing lot size, right? Thereby working against the whole available housing. So it's a biased process.
Right.
You know, so that's probably why one of the reasons why they're predisposed not to be wanting to increase lot sizes.
It always surprises me a little bit on lot size too, though, because, you know, you talk about density. If you've got larger lots, again, we're going back to a city and taxes and whatever, you still have to put sewer systems in, you still have to put, all
Sure.
of the utilities in. So for city, when I've looked at those studies, it makes more sense to have a higher density.
With the same water and sewer. right?
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, because, you're typically you're collecting more in taxes
Right.
on those lots, and there's more of them as opposed to having like a 1 acre lot or a 10,000 square foot lot or whatever, because you still have to provide city services. So,
No.
I think,
A lot of lots in Eureka don't have sewer. You can still
Well-
build on them.
typically, you heard what I said there. So. Okay, so then the other item was, if we went to 3,200 square feet, we already had the information from the fire marshal as
Right.
far as, he said he thought 6 feet would be acceptable, and we had talked about going from 10 to 8
Yeah.
or 6, but did we land on 8?
Did we land
I think we
on
landed
8?
on 8.
I think we landed on 8, I believe,
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking, is that we landed on 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my notes showed. Yeah.
Okay. So what else what other things did we have to?
I think it should be
Decide
it.
on.
Yeah.
That's it. Just have to,
Those were 8-foot setbacks side and back? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, we're not, it's not.
8 foot was for side. I don't
Side,
think we had discussed changing the setback for
Got
the
it.
rear.
right.
Oh, and
Yeah,
we also
did.
talked about parking.
Yeah,
Yep.
1 lot, 2 lots, or 2 spots, 1 spot.
right. We talked about that.
Yeah. What did we decide on that?
I don't think we decided on that. I think we were
I
gonna-
think
No,
I don't think we did either.
We kicked the
That's why-
can down the road on that, so.
Well, I think we decided to leave it with 2 lots. 2 lots, did we not? 2 off-street parking? Yeah.
Well, you have to think through it conceptually. So if you're decreasing the size of the allowable lot, how does that translate to typical building?
That means the majority of them will be a 2-story
Mm-hmm.
instead of a
Correct,
1-story,
correct. That's correct.
right?
Yeah, it's going to go up. Yeah, correct.
If you want to have enough parking.
Correct.
Okay, well then, I mean, I think that's, I don't think we have to do anything with parking then.
Right.
It's only going to be if somebody says, well, I really only want a 1-story,
Yeah,
like what we
okay.
had at,
On, down there on Spring or whatever.
right? So is it 8 foot on both sides and then 8 on the back and then adequate parking or adequate space for 2-car park in the front? Or vice versa? Could you do it in the back? Could you do it in the front? Whatever, as long as 3 sides were 8 feet?
So we hadn't talked about changing the setback in the rear, and the front setback is the same as the average for the neighborhood, is what it currently says in the code.
Right.
Okay, would there be a reason for us to change the setback in the back? There
think
would
that-
be, right? If it's a smaller lot, depending upon the size of the house that they want to put on it, right?
I know that the zoning variances that brought this up did not ask for a variance of rear setback, only side setback.
Right.
Okay, so right now it's 10 foot.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just thinking that if I were, I mean, I know 2 feet is not a big deal, maybe to some, but if my lot is that much smaller, I'd want to be able to use as much of it as I could.
Sure, sure.
So would the same apply to that lot as the front does, is that it would be consistent with what is already there, in that you would leave it at 10 feet, or could you change it to 8?
I mean, that's
In the rear.
to you all, but I don't think it's 10 feet in the rear, is it?
I think it's, yeah.
I thought it was, wasn't it?
I thought it was 15, 10 if it's abutting an alley.
Okay.
There he is.
It's 20 feet, 10 if you butt in an alley.
Yep.
20 feet?
Yep.
Yes. I think it's 20 feet in the rear and 10 foot if you're butting an alley.
Okay.
Well, from a design and use standpoint, it seems to me that part of that setback requirement is also to encourage the use of some space back there for other than a building, right? patio, open space, green space, and so forth. And the further you could make that case on the side, but most people have their relaxing area, non-indoor, in the back or in the front, not on the side. So the side is less of an issue when it comes to the use of the property. So, and if you push that all the way back to 8 feet to the fence, you're going to be back, a lot closer into somebody else's backyard that they're enjoying that green space. So I think I would be more likely to go along with decreasing the side width than I would the rear width.
You don't go down to 6 foot on the side? Go down to 6 foot on the side rather than 8?
Yeah.
That's a toss-up, So
I mean, it gives you more usable space, I guess, in the house. I mean, as far as living area or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So 6 foot is as long as that table, right? Yep.
As far as 6 or 8, you're not going to be able to do much anyway with it. I mean, as far as utilizing it, it just gives you more square foot in the house if you wanted to build on it.
Any arguments against 6 foot? I don't have one way or the other.
No. I don't think anybody does. No.
Okay.
I mean, I'd rather leave it at 8. I think.
Well, you just
I'm completely ambivalent on that.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, they'll end up building a house with no windows on either side.
Yeah.
So Cassie, from a design standpoint or just a public use standpoint, what's your comment? What's on the side? 6, 8? Does it matter?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the one thing that we're looking at is for developers to come in and look at our ordinances as they were building houses. They would see, oh, I can put more stuff in here. It'd be an opportunity for them. So it'd be more of a benefit at the smaller lot size for them as they're developing some of these lots that are just too small right now, or too, so that as we'd open up developers that would come in and could plop a house at that size. So that's what I'm looking at. It just basically would open up, hopefully, more development in areas that were before too small.
Mm-hmm. No, that's, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's good. So
8 foot on each side, 6 foot on each side?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, I mean, we can flip a coin on that. 6 foot. 'Cause I think we've got, I think we could do 8, and then just do, if anybody wanted a variance to 6, we could do a variance. I mean, if somebody came in with an application and they wanted us to shave off, to 6, we could do it with the variance, or just keep the regulation, or like I said, we can make it actually 6, period,
I mean, once whatever we decide, I mean, the developer has to accept that and go from that,
Tom,
guidance, just if it's, we say.
I'm not a builder, so I don't know.
I know, but I don't want to give up any more or less property than I have to. I mean, 8 foot, 6 foot seems pretty tight, but whatever we determine, I mean, the developer has to say within those confines, this is what I have to work with.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to pull any more property than necessary. So if we can do 8 foot within that 3,200 square foot, can we do that? I mean, is that doable?
I think so.
Tom, you started this.
Well, I kind of like the 6 foot because you're not going to do much anyway on the side as far as difference than 6 or 8 foot. I mean, you're not going to utilize much of the side yard anyway. I agree on the back part. Your point about having an area out there, which I wouldn't bother the back part, but if you can pick up the house is 2 foot and another 4 foot times whatever it is, you get that much more square footage in your house in the living area.
So it seems to me like if it's a practical matter, if we have new development coming in, we have about a 80% chance that everybody who's going to be building is coming in for a variance.
Yeah.
If we say 8, they're going to come in variance for 6, and we're going to have the same conversation over and over. It's going to be high.
Cassie, what you got here?
I know we are past the point for public comments, but would we be willing to have our one member of the audience come up and say something?
Sure. Come on up.
I mean, I think our goal is to get as many of those lots used as possible, so.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need name and address?
Go ahead.
Lila Allison, 260 Meadowlark Lane, Eureka Springs.
Okay.
listening to you guys talk, I absolutely understand our need for development and our need for more usable lots and our need for more affordable housing. But just for one quick second, if you had a neighbor building next to you, would you want them to be allowed to build within 6 feet? So just for a quick second, I want all of you to consider the residents that are already here, that have already purchased, that are not expecting that have not necessarily been able to voice their opinion on that. And I am 5'10". That means I could lay down and not be able to reach my arms all the way between myself and my new neighbor. I think we just need to also consider the people that are already here that will have these new homes built next to them.
That's why I said, the windows on either
Yeah,
side.
I mean, I'm not comfortable with 6 foot, 8 foot.
Yeah.
And I just want to add real quick, because I don't know if we've mentioned this at all tonight, this is just for the R1 zone.
Right. R1 zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right. All right. Anything more on that one?
Nope.
We want to put it back on the thing again, or what do you want to do?
What else do we need to talk about?
I guess, are we decide on 8 foot then, or?
Yeah, sure, yes.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Tom, would you like me to write up something that you could perhaps present at the next meeting that would be a recommendation we could vote on to give to City Council?
Yeah, sure, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, yep.
There you go. Okay. All right. The next item, number 5, RV parks and agricultural zone. Cassie.
So I had a question a couple weeks ago that I thought was interesting, where someone was wanting to purchase a couple of parcels that are in one of our agricultural zones, and they wanted to know if they could build an RV park on it. It's not a prohibited use in the agricultural zone, but it's not a permitted use. So we erred on the side of, for now, no, because it's not permitted. But I spoke with the mayor, and I gave Fergie a heads up and spoke with Ann, and we thought maybe that's something we could add to as a permitted use in agricultural zone, or could recommend to City Council that they do it. I did include a couple of maps with your packet, one to show sort of the agricultural zone that was in particular question, but also our whole zoning map that shows the agricultural zones throughout the city. One more note before I let you ask questions, Susan. Right now, the only zone that allows RV parks is C2C, contemporary commercial, outside of the historic district.
Got a question there.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Susan. Sorry.
So it's kind of funny that Lila would be here, because we had this discussion several months ago about agricultural zones and what is allowed in those. And we have a lot of that type of zone. I mean, there's a lot of land out there that's considered agriculture in Eureka Springs.
Good.
And the fact that somebody came to us asking about an RV park, I think, if I remember correctly, it was maybe like January or December, we had this conversation about trying to find areas that would be more suitable for affordable housing. And when I say affordable housing, we go back to what is the minimum square footage, what is the maximum square footage, or are there spots in Eureka that would be available to develop for something like that? And one of the big ones would be our agricultural zone. So I think it's a bigger discussion than just saying, can we put an RV park there? And maybe because we've already had this discussion, it's a good opportunity for us to continue with this discussion and say what else could be
That's what I got.
available in those particular zones.
Could I add something to that? Something that I think Lila brought up that last time was the best way for affordable housing is trailer parks. So, I mean, we're discussing RVs in those sections, but I think trailer park, you go ahead, come on up.
Well, there's a lot of different,
And that's the thing.
there's a lot
that
of
she brought up.
different styles of I don't want to say, you don't want to just say trailer park, because that's
No, but
kind of
not.
a
Well, whatever,
1970s.
mobile home parks, yeah. Anyway, but that's about the most affordable way of affordable housing in our area, rather than buying, building apartment complexes
Yeah,
and things.
and
that's
but
what-
then
that-
people look at it differently too. Is it stick-built? Is it prefab? Is it, all of those
Modular,
things?
yeah.
Anyway,
Right, so all of that would have to be in, all of that would have to be laid out,
Yeah.
because we don't currently have those specifications as to what type of building would be, like even in an RV, what you think is an RV might be different from what you think
Yeah.
an RV is.
But the trailer homes are specifically stipulated in the
Well, RV
guidelines
is
there.
kind of-
That's in our code. A mobile home park is
That's
in
what
our
I'm saying,
code.
yeah.
But there are so many variations to different types of housing now
Modular, and prefab,
Right.
modular, yeah.
that we'd have to.
So I have a question on RV. That's transient housing, right?
For some, it's permanent.
Yeah, so.
Well, then,
But it is, of course, that's the business model. It's transient, yes.
Right.
I mean, I'm going.
Could be recreational. It's recreational, some semi-permanent.
Yeah.
So the question before us right now is RV parks in the agricultural zone? Is that what we're saying?
Is that we don't have a category
Yeah,
for that
yeah, there isn't
currently.
It isn't an approved use for agricultural zone.
Okay, and so your copy of the zoning ordinance here that had RV parks in
That was a
it.
dig.
I
when
added
had it,
that.
You added that?
Yes.
Uh-huh. I thought that didn't look right. So,
And all I'm saying is if we're gonna look at something
Right.
like that, then we need to all be clear on what an RV park is, what type of home would be appropriate for those areas. And like I said, is it a house on wheels? Is it a prefab house? Does it, does city code only say that it has to be a stick-built home? What does that mean? I mean, there are so many varieties of places that people live today, including tents, that we probably need to look at that
I would like
further.
it's some clarification on whether it's going to be transient or where it's going to be permanent housing.
well, by
I
name,
mean, when you have a mobile home, a manufactured home, that could be a permanent, but it could also be transient. I mean, they could always just hook up a fifth wheeler to it. And,
well, inherent in the business model in an RV park, it could be it's going to be a one-day rental. It could be 6 months. Yeah,
Don't
so
we
it's
already have that, though? But we already have.
there are already a couple of more. Yeah,
like
3
kennel
RV parks.
campground
Right.
And they.
yeah, but you were also talking. You were talking about mobile homes, so I see this as like a mixed use of that.
The municipal code sees mobile homes and RV parks as separate.
Yeah.
We have a mobile home park zone, and that is the only zone where mobile homes are currently allowed.
And it's only one street.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
all of Eureka. One tiny street.
Tiny-
So
And then-
we're talking about specifically an RV park then.
That's what I specifically brought up. If you want to enlarge the discussion, that's totally up to the commission.
I think we've had other discussions similar to this related to our agricultural zones.
Okay.
Where can we expand and what types
Yeah.
of housing
Right.
would we allow in each of those zones?
Yeah.
And right now, we're kind of limited as to the different varieties of that type of housing in Eureka because we only have the one street that allows mobile homes. Everything else has to be built, has to be stick-built, has to be permanently, attached to a foundation.
Right.
What was, why, did somebody bring this up to you? Somebody brought this up about using agriculture for RV park?
Yeah, they just wanted
Is
to know.
that why
if
we're discussing
Yeah,
it?
they wanted to know if an RV park would be allowed on a certain parcel, and the parcel's agriculturally zoned, so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I think we should
No,
expand
we're-
the discussion to
Yeah.
include mobile home parks. I think it's a very valid and very important discussion.
I also just want to say too, I think stick-built is the best thing, but if any of you have tried to get a contractor to build something here lately, let me tell you, it is not affordable and it's not quick. So having some type of zoning in Eureka where someone could do a modular or a prefab or something other than having to have a contractor come in and build it on location would absolutely open up opportunities for our working class people to be able to buy a permanent home. As somebody said earlier, we have RV parks. I'm not opposed to more options for RV parks, but it's my understanding that us as a community are trying to make sure that we have affordable housing for people that live here. So I would like to see that addressed before we allow more business.
Me too.
So I have a question for Cassie. On this zoning map, so the agricultural is the
Green.
Green.
But we have all this empty space in yellow, which is what, R2?
Yellow is
C2.
R2.
R2.
So that's available for housing, right?
Yes. Which,
So couldn't the RV park go into an R2?
You know what? We could vote on anything.
Sure.
But it has to be approved by city council.
Right.
So we could say, you know, in every zone, we're going to allow a mobile home.
I understand that, but you know,
But-
when you have green space and then you start converting it to,
Well, RV parks are generally considered more of a business than a mobile home park is. A mobile home park is considered more permanent and a residential neighborhood. An RV park is a business, people coming in and out. So it would be consistent, generally speaking, with planning and development use guidelines that an RV park would be limited to a commercial zone and or an agricultural zone and not a residential. It's less congruous, you know, than with the residential use. And I can assure you the pitchforks would probably come out if we allowed an RV park inside a residential zone.
my main concern is that once you convert an agricultural to, housing, you don't get it back. You lose that green space.
Fair enough. I'm not necessarily advocating for it one way or the other, but
And the other thing too is like with an RV park and with a mobile home park, typically, like what David said, it's a business because somebody buys a chunk of land and then they split it up into lots, and then those people pay them a monthly fee for that particular lot. They might own the RV or they might own the mobile home or whatever it is, but they're still paying a lot price.
Quite frankly, I don't care whether it's a RV or a mobile home park. It's the conversion of the agricultural land to a housing.
But it's not agricultural land that the city owns.
Yeah, it's not being farmed.
So let's clarify
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
privately owned, zoned land by
Right.
private landowners. This is not ag land that's owned by the city as green space. This is privately owned land.
And it's not farmed. A majority of it
Right.
doesn't have any farming on it at all. It was, I think, what ended up happening is when the city was platted out, they didn't know what to do with those areas, so they just called them agricultural zones because they just didn't do any. They didn't for
Probably didn't have water, sewer
70
streets or whatever.
years decided not to do anything with it.
Then maybe we should consider just converting it completely over to like an R1 or R2 or something.
I mean, it could be,
Possibly,
but
sure.
that's the discussion
Good
is
discussion, too.
what,
You
could do
what
that,
do you
too.
want to do?
Sure.
Because then the other thing, like what some of the things that David said was, that changes your taxes too. So if it's agriculture right now, it's a different tax bracket
Yeah,
for that
yeah.
land
And they get-
than if it
yeah.
went to residential. So, I mean, those are some things too that,
Yeah.
I'm open to that,
Yeah.
but the thing is.
but it is a discussion for sure.
So-
Yeah.
It is worth potentially looking into rezoning. I don't think, obviously not rezoning all agricultural as anyone think, but looking into the different areas that they are in. Because from my understanding, a lot of our agricultural zones were simply the city annexed that land at one point and just made it instead of picking it, determining a good land use for it, just said it's agricultural, and we'll rezone it later.
Right.
Okay, but so let's look into the future here, because once that is converted, then we have to look into what infrastructure has to be put into there.
Yes.
Water and sewage.
Yeah, those are all factors we have.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I mean, they're currently an incorporated city limit, and they're not providing water and sewer in most of those areas. I'm sure there's areas that are some. It's a fire police thing. I mean, anytime you incorporate an area, there's fire and police anyhow. So if you rezone it, it just changes maybe the demand from fire and police. But you can do in-city allow septics. Right. So we'd have to, the public works people would have to be on board, and so would city council, that maybe have some tolerance on allowing, septic in-city septic systems.
Well, who pays for the water infrastructure that has to go into that?
Well,
Depends on where it's at.
that's the point. That's a developer's cost. And by the way, that is the thing I was thinking about as a developer in a development. What would possess me? Right. Would want to go and deal with a city to get permitting and approval if there's no water and no sewer, and I have to put in all my own infrastructure where I can go right down there, right on the edge of that, and do the same thing.
Well, see,
that's so if we want to do this, my suggestion is we try to make it motivating in some way.
If we put in more septic tanks in those areas, I'm wondering about the environmental impact.
That is the reason why many cities scrutinize them very carefully. For sure, because in most cities, though, you'll have some higher density. I mean, I tried to get an in-city septic system put in near the city, right? And they didn't look very favorably on it, and I understand it, because it was near the city. So you're more likely to have some environmental runoff, problems from that than if you're out there in the agricultural zone. But generally speaking,
Or just outside the city limits.
Outside the city limits, right. So all you're going to get, if you're the developer there, is fire and police.
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah. So,
okay.
I mean, I think it really is a discussion. I mean, it really, but it's a bigger discussion than just saying, okay, we just need to know whether or not everybody thinks it's a good idea to allow somebody to put an RV park in.
Well, yeah, and one of the things that I recently remember from memory is, we had the food truck thing going on. And then one of the individuals that had a food truck didn't get a lottery that year. He built a foundation of cement, and his now was a permanent building. So sometimes people are pretty figured this stuff out.
You had to take the wheels off.
He was no longer
Take the wheels off.
Take the wheels, just basically it's on a foundation. But it's not a mobile truck anymore. But there's other companies like, Elon Musk is now building, a housing projects with individual modular housing units that are
3D.
So that may be something going forward. We ought to think about what we're going to call that. What would you call that? Would you call that a house, or would you call it? It's because it's not attached to anything. You attach it to something, but it's just a modular building that's floating.
Well, actually, there's a lot of modular housing currently successfully being used and rented right over in Rogers and Springdale.
Right. So we ought to think about maybe creating a definition of housing that doesn't exist today.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many different varieties now than.
So we could just, and then put that in an area like the agriculture area.
Well, I would say this. I think Cassie's comment was important, and that is maybe the thing to do rather than does an RV park allowed in agricultural, maybe we look at some of those agricultural zones and is it time to rezone them?
Yeah. So
to encourage specific development in that area. Other than that, then the question really is, no, I don't think it should be a blanket exception. I need to see where the real estate is. Where is the real estate?
Yeah.
Well, when there's an RV park, you have to consider there's black waterways that's coming out of those. And, there's a lot of infrastructure issues here.
One idea, when I was in parks, we built these little habitations over there at parks. I don't know if you've been to Lake Leatherwood and seen those little temporary buildings where people could stay a couple of days or nights, but they have a common bathroom type of thing. So, kind of a interesting idea, concept.
Like a shower
kind
house.
Of
Like a shower house.
Yeah. And but those kind of things where you've got here's a modular unit that's 2 stories on some of those, where you got a loft and you got, entrance, and you've got, but it's a residence, I mean, you could have the I wouldn't want to stay there for months, but, but those kind of things, we got to think about outside the box and call that something, but that may be something that we're looking at, is just, so as we're developing ideas, we don't have to stay within the same confines that we've done for the last 30 years. We can come up with something new.
I have a question for maybe Paul.
What was your question?
The question is, in current RV parks here in Eureka Springs, how do they handle wastewater?
How do the ones right now? Well, I think the one over there is connected to the city sewer out there on Passion Play Road. What's that?
Wanderlust and Kettle Campground would be the 2.
But there was discussion of maybe putting in a septic tank for.
You're saying so right now, you're talking about new RV parks. Is that what you're asking me? So new RV parks, well, let's just put it this way. You cannot use a private sewer if you're within 400 feet of the city sewer. You have to hook up to that city sewer.
There you go.
So, and the private sewer for an RV park, it all depends where it's going to be at. I mean, if it's going to be in the county or if it's going to be in the city. But I know that we have the RV park over there on the east side of town that may be coming, that they're supposed to be putting one in across from Elise, and they already have city sewer there.
Right.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, but by the way, most RV parks in rural and semi-rural communities are on well and septic. They have a central water plant, and then they
It's like a
do
holding
septic.
tank or
Yeah.
however
they
everything runs into that, right?
They do, yeah. So it's probably less environmental impact than some of the things that formerly may have been discharged out of the city of Eureka sewer plant for a while.
I mean, I guess.
No, I don't mean that to be humorous. I mean, we know this is a public, this is a public fact. So, and unfortunately, they got a hold of that. But those things happen. But you're going to have about the same thing.
And the positive thing is we're not controlling the county. It could be a free for all. This is all within the city limits, so it would have to be permitted, properly inspected, and everything else to make sure it was, to code. So it's a little bit easier than, I think, a county just saying, this guy's got it running out into the field.
So to Cassie's original question about from the inquiry about an RV park in an agricultural zone, if that was brought before the Planning Commission, for me, there would be 2 considerations. A, where is it in that agricultural area, right? And then secondly, does it make sense to look at that niche area and just maybe help them further to rezone it? Would seem to me to be a better play. Look, the best way I can tell you, this is an age-old problem, the best way to increase affordable housing is to increase the availability of cheaper land.
Correct.
You can get all the calculators and analysts you want in the room, it really doesn't matter, that's it. And since nobody here, they all say, I'd love affordable housing, but when you go to sell your property, nobody's saying, yes, I'd like to sell it for 50% less if you'll promise. No, they're not doing that. So then you have to go somewhere where you can get lower price land, and it seems to me that the agricultural zone might be a part of that.
Well, and then, we're already talking about changing the lot size
Right.
in R1. So, then the conversation goes to what would be a lot size in the agricultural zone. If we're trying to encourage.
Well, then you've got to look and see if there's sewer available or not. If it's not available, then you have to have bigger lots because you have to have more room for the septic lines or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you almost need to know where somebody wants to put one, and then look at where the water is, where the sewer is, and where the streets are.
Right.
And then decide if it's feasible or not even to proceed. I mean, from the...
But there's some very highly successful RV parks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
And, they've got swimming pools, clubhouses, tennis courts. I mean, there's some really nice RV parks. So a lot, I can't speak for everybody. A lot of my decisioning would be based on, okay, show me what you're doing and where you're doing it, and we'll try to help you, or not.
Yeah.
I think based on the age of the citizen in Eureka Springs, as it stands right now, I think it's like 53 years of age. I think if you were to look at that part of it, you'd say that would be a feasible place for a lot of people to live. I mean, they have some, like you said, wonderful places down in Texas that are RV parks, where, you have a lot that you rent and I mean, they're beautiful. But it would also be for that starter home or that starter place for someone as well that could be younger, so.
I think we need to get a definition of what an RV park is going to be, because it's kind of all over the map of what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Or just say what we would consider to be permitted. It doesn't have to necessarily be RV. RV could be one of them, but you could also expand that to, a mobile home. I mean, there's so many varieties.
When I think about affordable housing, I think about something permanent that a family can move in and grow, and it can be their own. When I hear RV park, I hear transient.
Would someone that has their code book on them please look at the definition section of Chapter 14 and see if RV parks is in there?
I think it is. I think we've got mobile homes. I've never seen RV park.
It's like a lot of things. It all depends on how you run it, too. RV parks can be a great shot in the arm to the community, and it just depends on how they're built and how you run them as to the clientele that you get there.
Well, we're a tourist town. I mean, a lot of people come through with RVs.
Absolutely. Families, too.
Go to the Passion Play, whatever.
Cassidy, what code was that?
Chapter 14.
Be in Chapter
Chapter
14.
Yeah.
Is this agriculture? We're just going to look at our agriculture, or do you want to just know if?
There's a section that is labeled definitions.
Okay. There is a district MHP, which is the mobile home park.
I was just going to say, while you guys are looking that up, would it be this group that would meet on expanding the option for modulars in regular residential zones, or would that be a different group?
No, it'd be us.
Because I think that would be a huge benefit if people could either, even just bringing in sections to not have to be built on location would make a huge impact to affordable housing.
It would be planning, because then we would have to modify the permitted uses in that particular zone.
So if that's something that could be possibly added to a discussion for you guys, if this discussion is going to continue, whether we're changing zoning or not changing zoning areas, I think adding an option for builders or buyers to be able to bring something in, whether it be in pieces or partially manufactured and then put together on a lot in the city in a regular residential zone, would be a very beneficial addition to what we already allow as far as affordable housing goes.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Do you want to leave it on the agenda?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure, leave it on the agenda.
Yeah, we'll leave it on the agenda then.
Something more.
Okay. Is that it for that one? We done? We pretty beat that horse pretty good. Okay. All right. So next one is Act 313, Cassie again.
Did everyone get the email that I received back from Municipal League regarding Act 313 and 314?
Yep.
Are there any additional questions you feel weren't answered in that email?
Those are my questions.
Okay.
So,
Very good.
All right.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
And then Act 314, next one, same thing.
Same one. It does not prohibit annexation. I think that was the main concern. It just, so the area development plan that we were going to work on would have allowed us to say, if you're building a subdivision, within our area development plan, you have to follow our rules for subdivisions, and we can't do that now, but it doesn't prohibit us from any annexation we may want to do in the future.
Yeah, that's what Butch said. Yeah, okay, good, okay. All right, so the very last thing we've got is approval of minutes for March 11th. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from March 11th?
I submit a motion to approve the minutes from March 11th.
Second.
Okay, we have a second and a motion to approve the minutes for March 11th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And you're going to abstain?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. One abstain. I got you. And also we need to approve the minutes from April 8th, our last meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes for April 8th.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain? Okay, got one abstain. Right, gotcha. All right. And now we'll just go through and every, this is, we.
Want to do the agenda setting?
Yeah,
for-
agenda setting, sorry.
Agenda setting page on the other, next page.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The backside.
I'm backside. I'm
There you
sorry.
go.
I think,
So Commissioner, yeah.
I think everything is probably going, well, tourist lodging is Ann's. Lot
Right.
size discussion is Tom. That's still on there. Fence
Right.
is still on there.
Yeah,
Agricultural zones.
yeah.
What
I
else
think we
do
need, I
have?
think I'd like to amend that to include mobile home parks.
I believe I'll just write it as
Or definitions.
agricultural zone.
There you go.
on the
Agricultural
agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And what else did we have? Workshop. Who's our workshop?
Yeah,
Gonna do?
workshop next week, yeah. We'll have a workshop.
Are we going to do it the next meeting?
Fencing, yeah. Fencing, I guess. Or we can, or you want to do the agriculture discussion too?
No.
No?
I think we need to think about that
Okay.
a little bit
Okay.
more.
All right.
The only other thing was that variance on the,
Yes.
on that property.
Yes, that, I will schedule a special meeting for that.
Okay, special session, okay.
So are we going to do 5 o'clock before the next one for the fence one, though, for sure?
Yeah, that works for everybody.
Sure.
Say again?
5 o'clock workshop for fencing
Sure.
Yeah.
prior to the next regular meeting?
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay. All right, so now, okay, and now we're at commissioner comments. So, Michael, you want to kick us off?
No comment.
Okay. Scott, anything? Comments?
I want to just say thank you for my participation here, and because I'm very thankful that I can have some input into future city planning.
Good. Thank you for welcome aboard. Susan?
I don't have anything.
Dave?
Nothing further.
Tom?
No comment.
All right. The only thing I got, guys, is we had a wonderful week. A lot of activities coming up in May, so pay attention to your calendars. Don't miss anything. There's a Memorial Day stuff coming up, and there's a lot of activities on the weekend. So just have a good time. The weather should be great. Hopefully, no more rain. And thank you for your time, and welcome, Scott. Welcome to.
One
the
thing real
commission.
quick, there's a rededication of the Basin Park this
Oh,
Friday
yes,
at 5:30.
That's right. Oh, yeah, this Friday at,
believe it's
what time was
Thursday.
it? Is it
Thursday, I'm sorry,
Thursday.
correction, yeah.
Sorry, Thursday at what time?
Thursday at 5:30.
5:30. Okay, Thursday, 5:30 at the park. So everybody be there. It's going to be a great event out there. Rededication of the Basin Park. I think it was 1896 or something. I think it was built. 1889. Anyway, it's been around for a while.
Okay.
Town was,
Huh?
1879,
1830.
when it first became
There you go.
city.
That's right. It became a city. Before it became a city. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So thank you very much. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. All approved?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You.